What do you think are some of the biggest challenges that we'll be facing council and the mayor in the next 2 years?
I think the number one challenge will be the budget, because the budget is set, for the next fiscal year. However, I am concerned that you have to set the budget. That
Right.
has to happen. But I am very concerned that the next council may have some obstacles in trying to follow that budget, because of cuts that will be coming down from the federal government, the state government. We're really unsure of what's going to happen with, revenue, tax revenue, etc. And I think that is going to be a huge challenge, for the upcoming, council. And it's a real concern for me because, I am promoting myself as a fiscal conservative, and so, I need to do what I say when I get,
Yeah.
when I get in there. I need to, do as I said I would.
Right. One of the things is, you've said over and over again that the Wilsons are no longer part of your campaign. Do you want to elaborate on that a little bit more?
I don't want to elaborate more on that because, it's the type of thing that I'd really like to put in the past, and I don't want to make this campaign about personalities. As I've said before, as I've mentioned before, there may be times that there will always be people that feel it's about personalities because some decision, this is a campaign where we're also promoting that the facts dictate change, okay? And personalities are involved with those facts, so there will be times that, there are people that feel that it is about personalities. But, on my side of the street, I would like to really downplay that, that aspect.
Obviously Liz sued the city and the mayor's campaign saying she felt that he was not a legitimate candidate because of paperwork and stuff. How did you feel about that lawsuit, and were you supporting it? What outcome did you hope to see? Kind of what was your response to that?
Well, I will talk a little bit about that. The first thing is I knew from day one that there could be a problem with Marlon's paperwork. And the reason that I knew that is because I was given examples of other candidates' paperwork to make sure that I completed mine correctly. So that's when it came up. I had no idea if it was a big deal, if it was a small thing. I really didn't know. But it's something that I kind of put in the back of,
yeah.
on the back shelf somewhere. And I believe that it was that error in paperwork, if that's what it was minor in comparison to much more important things, And it's no secret that I was a little disappointed that, originally the Wilsons were supporting me. And I think that money could have, for the lawsuit, could have been a lot better spent on my campaign. That would have been a lot better use of, of that money.
Right. You had to, because you started out as a $500 exemption candidate.
Correct.
And then you had to change.
Right.
So, about that really quick, do you feel that some people think that was maybe a little misleading? Because when you were getting campaign signatures, you were, campaigning as a $500 exemption candidate, and then all of a sudden you started asking for money. Are your supporters okay with that?
I have not had that questioning come up.
Okay.
That's not a question that's not something that anyone has questioned.
Okay. Alrighty. And then when you changed your campaign, you had to turn in a campaign finance report. They have a lot of paperwork for all this stuff, don't they?
It's not bad, actually. It's not nearly as cumbersome as what I would think.
Yeah. But Liz Wilson, and you turned this in on June 29th, so just about a week
Correct.
ago. And Liz Wilson signed this as your treasurer.
Right.
So,
Well, not as the, it shouldn't be as treasurer.
she says acting treasurer Liz Wilson.
Okay.
Elizabeth Wilson.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
Yeah, and you're probably, I'm sure you're right. I'm sure you wouldn't say that's what it was if it wasn't. But Liz was, she was a signer on the account, but she was never officially a treasurer. And she had made at that point when that paperwork was turned in, she had been the only one to make donations, and so that's why she completed the paperwork. Because she had the information, you know, and the donations totaled, I believe, $111. I made my own contribution of $40.
Yeah.
And Liz made a contribution, miscellaneous contributions of $111, and she had that information. I did not, and that's why she completed that paperwork in parting. You know, and she was very professional about that and handled it very professionally, and I really appreciated that she did that. You know, especially since we parted. You know, she did so in a very professional manner.
You do seem to have a lot of people though associated with your campaign that have sued the city or are suing the city. You know, I mean, there's the Wilson and then Kay-Ann Riley. Evidently, she's. I don't know if she's actually suing him yet, but she's got a notion of intent or something like that. I think she has a year or memorandum.
Kay-Ann is not involved with a campaign. I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
Yeah, she isn't now, but she was at one time, wasn't she? She was
for a short period of time.
Yeah,
you know.
And then the sellers too, I guess.
Yeah, the sellers, as far as I know, aren't suing the city for anything. You know, they have questions. You know, but my understanding, you know, they have a lot of questions. You know, but my understanding is they are not suing the city for anything.
Okay. That you, according to your voting record, you haven't really voted since 2007. And a lot of people would say, I've heard over and over again, if you don't vote, you don't have any right to complain. I don't know if you've heard that, but I've heard that.
There are many reasons why we don't have any right to complain. But, you know, there's merit to that. You know, there is merit to that.
So how do you respond to those people? I mean, you haven't voted since 2007, and yet you're running for mayor.
Well, when I was out collecting signatures, I found out that I have not been alone in that. And I'm sure you're aware that there are, and I was finding out the reasons, you know, that people aren't out there voting, you know, and, you know, they were kind of similar to, you know, to my reasons, is they've given up. They feel that they have no voice. They have, that their vote doesn't count. And they've kind of thrown their hands up. You know, there are people that, you know, I walked towards to get a signature, and they said, no, we do. They were adamant, we don't vote. You know, and I can say that I was never adamant. You know, absolutely. You know, I had lost, you know, a lot of confidence, you know, in government, you know, overall, as many people have and continue to do so. And, you know, that's a real challenge. And in fact, part of this campaign will be to encourage people to get out and vote. We've had these little bookmarks made which tell a little bit about, you know, how to get to the website and ask for a campaign contribution. But the entire back side is dedicated to the voting process. Okay, and the number one concerning factor that I found while I was out getting signatures for petitions is that most people have no idea how important the primary is. You know, not only do they have no idea how important it is, they don't know what the process is. You know, so we laid it out for them step by step. You know, so that we can encourage getting more voters out there, and it is important. And you know, yeah, we do need to be a little cautious about complaining if we're not actively out there.
Yeah.
Yes.